What's up, everybody? King J Smooth back with something we ain't doing in a long time. You know, I'm gonna start doing more of them. You know what I'm saying? I've been vlogging, going live, playing the game, stuff like that. That's what I need to do right now. I'm tired. I've been up all night. You know what I'm saying? But I'm just about to go grind the wreck. I think after I get done doing a couple vlogs or whatever. I don't know. The kids been driving me crazy. The wash machine broke down. You see it in the vlog. Oh my goodness, it's been hectic. But anyway, what we're gonna do now is do a reaction, and this is one from Bitwit. You know, I've been peeping everybody's studio and they streaming setups and stuff like that, the gaming setups. You know, 'cause I'm still working on mine. Mine is a work in progress, and then it's like I'm supposed to be moving. I don't know what's going on with my situation, my moving situation, and stuff like that. I'm trying to figure it out. My office is cramped, packed with stuff, and I still got stuff in boxes, ready to move, and we've been looking at places and trying to holler at people and stuff like that. It's been going crazy. This pandemic is really like I don't know. It's just been something different. But anyway, this one is building the home gaming setup I don't deserve from Bitwit. And shout out to you, man. I like watching these. I got flagged for a couple of these, so I hope I don't get flagged no more. But let's pull the screen up real quick.
Today I am finally revamping my home office setup. It's long overdue. This is something I've been procrastinating with for way too long, but I'm finally ready to do a complete overhaul of almost every single piece of hardware on that desk. PC, peripherals, everything. To make this possible, I've employed the help of my friends at ASUS to provide most of the hardware for the build as well as the peripheral. Running down the PC parts really quickly, we've got an AMD.
Now another thing is, well, a lot of these guys who do this, they tech channels and stuff like that, they end up building their PCs. And one day I'm gonna learn how to build a PC. That's one of my dreams and goals to build a PC. I've been trying to buy 3 game PCs. Oh my goodness, it's crazy. It's crazy right now too. You can't really build a cheap gaming PC. Can't really buy a cheap game PC. Like 700, 800 is a cheap one, and that's with an i3, i5 core processor in it. So how can you stream and play game and all this stuff on that? It's like it's real crazy. I'm trying to figure out what works, what's good with what. Like even now, because this is an i5 Intel i5 core processor, and I be having skips and jumps and hoops and flips and stuff. Like even now, my frame is in the red, so it's crazy. It might skip. I don't know. I gotta see after I play everything through. But let's go.
Ryzen 9 5900X, 12 cores, 24 threads, on top of an Asus
See, that's a
ROG
Ryzen 9.
gaming
I'm
motherboard
dealing with a
in
5.
white, of course, 64 gigs of Corsair Domplats RGB DDR4 3600 speed. Why in God's name do we need 64 gigs in this PC? Well, this is going to be a streaming and gaming PC for starters. I'm also going to be doing some editing on it. So obviously, Adobe Premiere Pro eats up a lot of RAM. Plus, I open a couple Chrome tabs from time to time. We also have an Asus ROG Strix LC360 RGB AIO in white. We have an 850 watt ROG Strix unit in white, and an Asus ROG Strix RTX 3080, you guessed it, in white. For storage, we have 2 Crucial drives. This is a P5, actually a P5 plus 1 terabyte. Don't mind the box, that's an outdated box, but this is actually a P5 plus unit, which means it's NVMe PCIe Gen 4 NVMe M.2 in 1 terabyte. That's going to be our OS drive, and then we have a 2 terabyte MX.
Now, if I'm correct, I think that's storage, and you could put a hard drive in there and an SD drive. I think I know a little something, a little bit.
500, which is a 2.5-inch SATA-based SSD. On top of that, I'm going to be dropping in 6 of these LL120 series RGB fans from Corsair. So yes, this is absolutely going to be a unicorn puke build from head to toe. Asia sleeve cables. I think eventually I'll swap these out for some Lee & Lee streamer cables because those will look super fly. And last but not least, we have a Corsair 4000X mid-tower chassis in white. And if I'm just looking at these parts at a glance right now, this build might even turn out to be just as aesthetically pleasing, if not more so, than the existing white RGB PC that
Look at that. See, this is what I'm talking about. This is exactly what I'm talking about. Now imagine that. Something like that next to PS5 with some white headphones and go with it. I had a white mic. That's just cold. Like all this white and this gold or something. Oh, even if it's this part white and then this part black, it's just as cold. Like that thing's sexy. Okay, I just had to sit there and look at it for a minute.
I have here in the office, which is just oh so beautiful. It's got some big shoes to fill. And of
it
course,
got 9
pins. A full set of peripherals to round out our setup, also courtesy of Asus. These are all part of their new Moonlight White series, and they all have a very nice white pearlescent effect, or appearance, I should say. We've got a nice keyboard, a scope, an ROG Strix Scope NX TKL. We also have an ROG Strix Impact 2 gaming mouse, ROG Certa 2 Core earbuds, and finally the ROG Strix Go Core gaming headset. All in beautiful white. I think this build is going to look really nice when all is said and done because as far as the build is concerned, we only have, apart from the CPU and storage, which don't get seen, those won't be visible in the build, all the other pieces of hardware here are either from Corsair or Asus. So it's going to have a really cohesive look by the end of it, and I'm really stoked to see it all put together. Links to that, and all this stuff to be found in the description below. As always, in case you're interested, feel free to check them out. But without further ado, let's build me a new PC. Yeah.
Time out. This is a new video. This came out on the 8th. Today the 11th. I'm digging them peripherals, dog. I'm gonna have to go hit them links, dog. See how much things go. I bet you a keyboard like 180. No. I got the Pro Lessons on it. We're gonna see when he open it. Yeah, it's just a little montage. I like watching them build PCs. That's a when no something about me. I like watching people put stuff together. PCs and stuff like that. Like it's so relaxing. I don't know why. Like people expressing their creativity. It's real relaxing to me. One thing I noticed that with like that the camera, I don't think it captured peripherals like the mouse and the keyboard or like that. I think it's something else going on with because it got like a pearlescent glow to it. I don't know if that's the RGB, but I think it's the keys and like the little finish whatever on it. I think like when you look at it, it's like a hint of a one color, and then you go another way, and it like transforms into another color, and that's why I was like, oh, that sounds nice. And now what he gotta do is change his screens, or gets a wrap for his screens and have it wrapped in white, and get a white chair. He gonna have to get a white chair too, cause the screens clash, but it's dope.
Chicka pow pow, wow, 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 wow. Yeah, setup complete. Yo, it's looking good. It's looking real good. Actually, setup's not completely complete. I still have to add those key lights and the camera for streaming and stuff, as I mentioned, but barring that, we are good to go. PC is looking good, running like a champ. We'll test it out in just...
Another thing is the first PC looks better than this one, but this one performs better than the other one.
Just a sec. I wanted to quickly go over some of the peripherals. Oh, before I do that, I've named the system. I actually got a name from one of you on Instagram. I asked you for a suggestion.
Stacy.
And, I'm going to name it McConaughey. Someone suggested that I name it McConaughey because it's all white, all white, all white. I forget who suggested that, but it made me die laughing, so now this PC's name is McConaughey. But anyway, oh, another thing, cable management isn't the best right now because I need to actually get a longer DisplayPort cable from the office when I get there next time, because it's just stretching a little bit too far across the desk for this monitor. So once I get a longer cable there, I'll be able to hide that better, and then I'll tidy things up for realsies. But then everything else looks good. Everything else looks really nice. I'm loving how these peripherals look. So rather than tell you exactly every single little feature about each of these, that's going to take too long and it's going to be boring. I'm just going to tell you my favorite features about each peripheral, and if you guys want more information about them, you can find links in the description below, of course. But starting with the keyboard, we have our Asus ROG Strix Scope NX TKL. It's quite a mouthful, and I'm still having a hard time saying it fluidly, but I really like this keyboard so far. I love the aluminum body. It's kind of got this dual textured finish. It's like shiny on one side and matte on the other, and it kind of goes across diagonally, which looks really nice. But even though it's fairly lightweight because it's aluminum, it stays planted on your desk because Asus did a really good job putting rubber on the back, or on the bottom, I should say.
I was about to say that. It got RGB at the bottom, though. That's dope. I think the Pro Essence is probably the RGB then. That's what they call them, Pro Essence. I don't know. We'll see.
3 huge rubber pads.
I've seen something going on with the
rubber pads that are on the pop-out feet if you wanted to give this an incline. And even when you're not using the pop-out feet, there's still rubber pads on either corner so that it's not sliding around. So it stays very nice and planted, which I do appreciate. Also, removable, detachable USB-C cable. Thank you, Asus, for not attaching it permanently. I do appreciate that. We also have Asus's very own ROG NX red switches. So these are very similar to Cherry NX red switches in my opinion. I would not be able to distinguish the difference between the two. They're very similar in terms of actuation force / resistance, as well as, you know, the fact that they are linear and stuff. I typically...
Now, my question is, what's the difference between switches? So you got like blue switches, got red switches. I think it's like the clicks and, well, like you said, the resistance and stuff like that. I don't know. I gotta figure that out. That's something I gotta learn.
Use Cherry MX browns or reds anyway, so this is not going to be much of a transition for me at all to be using this keyboard as a daily. We also have a lot of different things that the function key can do, like block the Windows key. You can do on-the-fly macros. On-the-fly macro recording is always nice. Not something that you always get on every keyboard. If you hit function insert, that'll actually toggle between allowing you to use the F keys or the multimedia functions, the secondary multimedia functions that are assigned to each of those keys, which is also very nice. My favorite feature on this keyboard by far, however, is the F12 key, which is, see a little guy? Looks like he's wearing a hoodie. Kind of looks like one of those neighborhood watch logos. This is a stealth key. So actually, hold on, give me a sec. So you see I've got all these windows open, hit the stealth key, boom, instantly minimizes and hides all windows and applications, and it also mutes your audio. So whether you're doing a Zoom call with your teacher, your professor, your boss, or if you're streaming and you need instant privacy at the hit of a button or at the hit of a key, you can do that just so easily. It is nice. I think this is the first time I've ever seen this feature on a keyboard. Not to say that it doesn't exist on any other keyboard. It's just a very unique feature that I'm really glad Asus implemented it here, and it works perfectly well. You can see that it actually is muting and unmuting the audio as well. So Very nice feature. I gotta say, the RGB lighting on this thing actually looks pretty nice too, and I really especially love the bar at the front here. It's not really doing it justice on camera, but it does add a nice little glow on the mouse pad or whatever surface that you have this on. And of course, it's all configurable and customizable within the Aura Creator software, which, by the way, is actually not bad. I never thought I'd say that about a third-party RGB software, but ASUS has done a lot of work. You can tell they put a lot of thought into it, and it actually works fairly well. The only thing that didn't work for me initially was when I first connected this keyboard, it wasn't recognized. So it took me a while to figure out, oh, I just gotta unplug it and replug it back in, and then it recognized it. Everything else after that, though, has worked perfectly. It's actually not a garbage piece of software like AuraSync used to be. So that's really nice. And then we also have the ASUS ROG Strix Impact 2, also configurable within Aura Creator in terms of the RGB and stuff. Ambidextrous mouse, although it is targeted towards right-handed users more so because it's got only the 2 click buttons on the left, nothing on the right. But it's really nice and light, tracks really well with the optical sensor at 6200 DPI, also has a 4-level DPI switch that you can adjust on the fly. And I know this is a very polarizing topic, but this has a rubber cable as opposed to a braided one that you see on a lot of gaming mice these days. I personally like both. I think they both have their pros and cons. I don't think the rubber ones snag quite as much as the braided cables. I think the braided cables look nicer, but these are a bit more reliable. They don't get frayed over time like braided cables do. They're a bit more durable overall. And the peripheral that surprised me the most today were these. The ROG Strix Go Core headset. These things, wow. Okay, so I'm not even exaggerating here. These are extremely comfortable. I thought the
Let's see how much it is. I gotta see. I gotta see how much it is. Alright, here go everything on this headset. We about to see how much this headset is. Come on, you see how slow it be going. That's because it's getting so old now. It's just old. This year made this system obsolete. It made my laptop obsolete. Oh, so $79? It's $79, okay. There's only 6 left. $79. They got it in black too. I just like the fact that they white. That's all I don't. See, that's about. Oh, the plain one, I'm like $150. See how much headphones be costing? But anyway, back to the.
The Corsair Void Pros that I've been using forever were light. Like, these are fairly lightweight, but they feel downright hefty compared to the Go Core. These are super, like, feather light, and with the memory foam ear cups and the really nice cushiony headband, these are extremely comfortable. I could wear these for hours. Not even joking. I appreciate the metal backing on the adjustable headband as well. Even though it's plastic on the inside, it does have the metal backing for added support. Detachable boom pole, but honestly, the thing that surprises me most, even more so than how comfortable these are, is the sound quality. I never thought I'd say that about $80 gaming headphones. These sound really good. I don't want to talk about too much. Obviously, they're not going to sound as good as my $3,000 Focal Stellias, but gaming headsets generally have garbage audio. Even ones in the $100 to $200 range typically sound like trash. These ones actually sound very good. I put them on, I started playing a song on YouTube that I'm familiar with, and just very surprised. Very, very surprised how good they sound.
You got
the bass is super punchy, and it doesn't get in the way of the mids. Usually with lower quality headphones, it kind of gets muddled, the lows and the mids and the...
You got $3,000 headphones.
And the highs. synchronized. They all kind of mash together and sounds very muddled. But these actually manage to separate those frequencies pretty well. And the soundstage on these is surprisingly open, and that's because they've actually enlarged the driver chambers in order for more air to circulate within them, and that creates just a more open soundstage and a more natural, pure sound. If you're looking for a new gaming headset in the $80 range and you don't mind that it's wired and it's got 3.5mm jack on the end, I would give these my firm recommendation. Very, very surprising. Then of course we have the ROG Certa 2-Core earbuds. I don't really see myself using these much in like at this setup because those headphones or that headset already rocks, but these are really nice as well. They sound very good. The bass is super punchy, not quite as punchy as those, and you're obviously not gonna get the same amount of soundstage because there's just not as much air or room for air to circulate in earbuds versus over-the-ear headphones. But they still sound really good. They have this inline control, volume up and down. There's even a microphone built in so you could take calls with this if you're using it with your phone, for example. And the build quality of these is actually not too shabby. It's got sort of like a metallic housing around them, which I wasn't expecting. I was expecting plastic. You're getting metallic, and you also have a variety of different earbuds, or not earbuds, ear tips and ear fins that it comes with, depending on the shape and size of your ear. But overall, I'm really digging the peripheral so far, and don't the keyboard and mouse just look fantastic on top of that Ensemble One desk mat that you can buy at bitwit.tech. Shameless plug. All right, let's check out the PC. All right, we are playing some Halo Infinite now. I've been playing for about 20 minutes or so, so all the components in the PC are nice and heat soaked at this point. They're about as hot as they're gonna get as far as what I'm doing with the system right now, which is playing a game at 2560 by 1440 on ultra settings, as well as streaming. I'm actually live streaming right now, just an unlisted stream on YouTube, so no one's in chat, it's just me. But I'm streaming at 1920 by 1080, 60 frames per second. This is just to replicate pretty much how I stream on the reg. When I'm streaming on Twitch, it's usually at these settings, 1080p, 60 frames per second. In case you're wondering, this is the stream right here, and it is playing back beautifully. Very smooth, no stuttering, no dropped frames on my end. Looks like the viewer experience is really good as well, so no complaints there. The system in general is performing beautifully. No red flags right off the bat. And you can see we've got the Afterburner HUD right up there on the top left of my screen, of my main display. And we can just run through some of those diagnostics really quick. As you can see, our GPU is hovering around 63C right now. So it's staying nice and cool. Very quiet as well. I can't hear any of the system noise over the sound of the game audio, of course. Oh. What am I doing? What am I doing? Oh god, oh god, oh god, oh god, oh god, oh god, oh god. GPU staying nice and cool despite being at nearly 100% utilization. We're getting around 1965 megahertz on the core clock. All right, the game's over. We'll jump into another one here. But CPU is hitting around 64 degrees Celsius. It's only at 30%.
Hey, well, that's it, man. That's crazy. That's what I need in my life. Something like that. Something like that, man. Well, that was it, man. Building a home game setup you don't deserve. From Fitbit. Nah, I'm just playing. From Bitwit. Yeah, go subscribe if you want to know more about the PCs and gaming hookups and stuff like that. Alright. I'll let you later. Peace out, Royal Family.